Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Celtic Sagas and Law. I am your host, Martin Vaughan Watkin. To all of you that liked and subscribed to the Facebook page and to the YouTube channel, I'd just like to say thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. I'd also like to say a special thanks to Eva and Lynn for being my test pilots and helped me get together the system, so thank you, ladies. In this episode I'd like to cover lake monsters, put a toe in the waters, so to speak. Now, by far the most famous one, and in world context a superstar, is the Loch Ness Monster. Now, the Loch Ness Monster is a most parties agree is a plesiosaur type creature that lives in a Loch Ness, which is a ice age lake that formed at the end of the last ice age. Now, the first recording of in modern times of the Loch Ness Monster was in 1933 when a road was put in and the now infamous surgeon's photo was taken. But I'm not going to dwell on the Loch Ness Monster for too long, but the first recorded sighting was by Saint Columba back in the Age of Saints around the 4th to the 6th century. Now, his monks needed to swim across the loch, and the Loch Ness Monster was eating them, and so Saint Columba said to them, stop, and sent the Loch Ness Monster packing. But Nessie, as she's more commonly known, is far from alone. You have the classic plesiosaur type living in the ice age lakes, and there are similar lakes and these creatures all around the world. For example, in the Canadian US border you have Lake Champion, and their Nessie is called Champ. These are lesser known than Nessie, but more commonly known locally. But even less known are more Celtic ones. There are quite a few of the classic plesiosaur stroke Nessie-esque type. For example, even in Scotland you have, I have to excuse my pronunciations on these, Loch Argach Oich Chinley are along the Great Glen Fault, which is on the same geological strait as Loch Ness. Down in Cornwall we have Morchwar, which is a very similar plesiosaur, but is a sea monster and has also been reported for centuries, and even a few photographs and video as well. Over in Ireland they have a few of their own. Probably the most common are Loch Foyle and Mulcross Lake. There have been reported sightings and some shall we just call them grainy photos then. In Wales we have Llyn Tegvyd. Now, the monster that resides here is known as Teggy. Now, Lake Tegvyd is a very beautiful spot in its own right, and it is not only Teggy that lives there. According to legend, it was formed in an Atlantis type style event, but we'll cover Celtic Atlantis type events in a later episode. But the classic plesiosaur type is far from alone. Staying in North Wales, for example, we have the New Chrefi, which loosely translates as water dragon. Over in Ireland, again, you'll have to excuse my Gaelic pronunciation, as Dúlfach Cú, which loosely translates as waterhound. Now, this beast resides in many lakes and larger rivers and is described as the Gaelic name is waterhound, and it is described as a sort of 7-foot hairy otter type creature with crocodile-like tendencies. Now, these creatures obviously are not the classic plesiosaur type. And we also have the in Wales we have the Arfach. Now this is a bit more in-depth story, and this creature was said to be a water monster along the lines of the Celtic along the lines of the Celtic monster, but had a strong hide that no arrow, spear, sword could penetrate. Now it lived in Chinner Arfach, which means the Arfach's pool on the River Cornway, and it used to cause terrible floods, destroying crops and killing livestock, etc. And it was ruining people's lives according to legend. So the wise men gathered and decided what to do, and they decided that if they couldn't kill the beast, they would have to move it. So this is where it gets interesting. Now, there's a character in Welsh mythology called Hugh Garden. Now, he is a very strange figure, and we will cover him further on in legend, but he is almost messianic in nature, a sort of proto-King Arthur type character. Now, he was probably some godlike character, but due to the Christianization of the old legends, he is now just a hero of legend. Now, the wise men gathered, and they gathered the finest blacksmiths and forged the strongest iron chains. And Hugh Garden used 2 of his long-horned oxen, and he snared the Arfach and dragged it up to Snowdon, to Chyn Ffion Las, under the dark imposing shadows of Mount Snowdon, and there the creature resides to this day. So, I don't want to scare you off our beautiful lakes, but if you were what they call a free swimmer, a boater or a fisherman, it just wouldn't hurt to keep an eye out, and you never know. So again, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this endeavour into our Celtic monsters, and there are far many more, both aquatic, mountainous and subterranean creatures we will cover in later episodes. So again, if you'd like to subscribe to the site or like the Facebook if you haven't already, thank you very much. If you'd like to know more about me, you can find me on www.martin-the-druid.webs.com, or you can just Google my name and you will find me on in a Google search. Again, you're welcome to leave comments or message me directly, and thanks for listening. I hope to see you again in episode 3.